Looking back on nearly a year of the Ukrainian conflict that has haunted Europe. Welcome to Eagle News Channel. The year 2022 will witness the greatest significant conflict to occur in Europe since World War II, and it will have an impact on practically every aspect of daily life. The commencement of a military operation in Ukraine with the purpose of demilitarization and de-fascism was announced on February 24 by Russian President Vladimir Putin. Following this, Russian forces simultaneously launched missile strikes on a number of towns located within Ukraine, including Kiev, Kramatorsk, Kharkov, Odessa, Mariupol, and many others. Following this, the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, issued a stern warning that the entirety of Europe was on the edge of a conflict that may burn everything down. In contrast to the forecasts that Russia would attack quickly and win quickly, the operation was met with heavy resistance by the Ukrainian army, which has caused the conflict to continue for the last 10 months. This has caused the combat to continue for the past 10 months. Buildings were left in ruins, people's lives were upended, and many people were killed as Russia withdrew from the areas surrounding Kiev in April. This is something that Ukraine and its allies consider to be evidence of war crimes. The fighting was especially intense in the southern and eastern parts of Ukraine, where Russian forces also experienced a great number of reverses on the battlefield. After a siege that lasted for 3 months, the port of Mariupol was destroyed, and the city itself was reduced to ruins. The war reignited the animosity between Russia and the West, caused Sweden and Finland to apply to join NATO, and compelled the member states of the alliance to station additional forces and armaments in Eastern Europe. At the beginning of November, the Ukrainian army, which was supported by the United States and its allies with weapons and ammunition, successfully persuaded Russian soldiers to evacuate from the southern city of Kherson. This was a victory for the Ukrainian army. Bolster morale in the midst of a fight that does not appear to be ending anytime soon. We are bracing ourselves for the most difficult winter of our life. On November 20th, Anastasia Pyrozenko, a local of Kiev, was quoted as saying, "Russia recently carried out missile strikes against the energy infrastructure of Ukraine, which resulted in power outages and left millions of people vulnerable to the cold and darkness of winter." As a result of the crisis, worldwide energy costs have skyrocketed, as Moscow has reduced its supply of energy to the West in reaction to sanctions aimed at that region. Countries such as Germany, Italy, and others who are dependent on Russian oil and gas have been forced to scramble to find new sources of supply. There is also pressure on governments to find methods to help the millions of individuals who are having trouble paying their rising energy bills and find ways to intervene on their behalf. Wheat, barley, and sunflower oil are all products that Ukraine and Russia export in significant quantities around the world. The battle has caused an increase in the cost of food and sparked concerns about a potential scarcity on a worldwide scale. Grain ships will be able to depart Ukrainian ports in the Black Sea as a result of an agreement that was mediated by the United Nations and Turkey. This will prevent a more severe crisis from occurring. Millions of people had to relocate because of the war. The United Nations estimates that more than 14 million people in Ukraine have been forced from their homes, with 7 million of those people seeking shelter in other countries. Because of the severity of the energy crisis, several nations were compelled to re-evaluate their plans to wean themselves off of fossil fuels as a direct result of the conflict in Ukraine. This had a detrimental impact on the environment. The Czech Republic has reversed plans to suspend coal mining in a critical location, while Britain has approved plans to increase oil and gas drilling in the North Sea. France has reopened a coal factory that it had previously shut down. Environmentalists are sounding the alarm that Europe is falling further and further behind in the race to combat climate change. On the other hand, there are many who believe that the crisis has also contributed to a greater understanding of the precarious nature of fossil fuel resources and has encouraged a number of nations to rapidly transition to the use of renewable energy sources. The severe weather that has occurred over the past year serves as a reminder of the need of avoiding the use of fossil fuels in order to make progress in the fight against climate change. After a summer that was very warm across much of the continent, winter storms have descended upon northern Europe, causing widespread damage. The United Kingdom had its first temperatures that were higher than 40 degrees Celsius due to an unprecedented heat wave that occurred over the summer. The season of autumn is bringing with it a lot of rain. Heavy rains in November produced significant landslides on the Italian island of Ischia, which resulted in the flooding of several automobiles and residences, which ultimately resulted in the deaths of more than 10 people. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change emphasizes that any delay in global action will cause us to miss the closing window of opportunity in the effort to ensure a livable and sustainable future for all. Any delay in global action will cause us to miss the closing window of opportunity in the effort to ensure a livable and sustainable future for all. Support the channel by like and share the video. Don't forget to press the subscribe button and the bell to receive the latest news. Thank you for watching.